NIU football players tried their best to impress at Pro Day, where NFL scouts came to see what the Huskies have to offer. Good evening, I'm Ryan Mack.
And I'm Walter Douglas. Top Shelf Sports reporter Mike Poirier is at the Cheswick Center to tell us more about how Pro Day went with the Huskies.
Thanks, guys. Pro Day was inside the Cheswick Center a couple of weeks ago, and I had the opportunity to see how a lot of the Huskies performed. Pro Day isn't just a day for most college football players. For them, it's a chance at their NFL dream.
I feel like it would be like a dream come true, like I said. People didn't think I was probably as athletic as I showcased, but I think that I proved them wrong, and I had a pretty solid day overall.
Among the many drills they had players run during the Pro Day, Breskison managed to run a 4.62 second 40-yard dash. Tommy Lee Lewis, his teammate, beat him out with a 4.5.
Most definitely, you know what I'm saying? My whole life I feel like I've been kind of behind the eight ball, so I'm always going to do what it takes to elevate my game and be the best me possible.
With all of their talents on display, both Lewis and Breskison hope to get drafted in the NFL draft.
If I could pick one team I want to go to, probably the Patriots, the way they use their short guys.
No matter the outcome of the draft, Lewis and Breskison will always be Huskies. Like I said, this footage was from a couple of weeks ago, but Pro Day has serious implications on where players will get drafted in the NFL draft, which was this past weekend. We had some Huskies hoping to hear their names called, but unfortunately that did not happen. However, right after the draft, two Huskies did sign with a couple of teams. Perez Ford was able to latch on with the Oakland Raiders, and he will try his luck there. Tommy Lee Lewis will head off to New Orleans to play with the Saints. Good luck to both of you guys. But NIU football never sleeps, and the work to replace these outgoing players started a couple of weeks ago with the spring game. Let's take a look. The spring game pitted teammates against teammates as Husky stars stepped into the spotlight to show off their skills. It was red versus black as offensive stars Drew Hare, Joel Buanian, and Kenny Galladay sat on the sidelines. But All-American corner Shawan Lurie played a couple of defensive series. Quarterbacks Anthony Matty and Ryan Graham took the helm, and they looked to battle for the backup positions. The players that played well and impressed were running back Tommy Mister and freshman quarterback Daniel Santa Catarina. These Huskies hope to be on the field in the near future. From the Cheswick Center, I'm Mike Poirier. Let's send it back to Ryan and Walter at the desk. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mike. The football team opens up the 2016 season Saturday night, September 3rd at Wyoming.
Well, the Huskies' first home game is September 17th as the San Diego State Aztecs travel to DeKalb. Can't wait.
Up next, the NIU baseball and softball teams are both headed to the MAC tournament. You're watching Top Shelf Sports.
Welcome back. Baseball and softball are in full swing here at NIU. Both teams are about to head into the MAC tournament.
The baseball team's on a 6-game win streak right now. Let's take a look at their game against UIC from last week. NIU faced the UIC Flames last Tuesday and started the game out swinging. The Huskies scored 7 runs in the first 3 innings to give them a big boost they needed to beat the Flames. Catcher Johnny Zubrick and center fielder Justin Fletcher led the run parade Tuesday, scoring 3 RBIs each. Starter John Cervez picked up the first win of the season, only going 3 innings on duty. The bullpen then held the Flames to no runs in 6 innings. The Huskies won their 3rd game in a row. This one was 11-6.
And the NIU baseball team is still on a roll, coming home from a series sweep against Bowling Green this past weekend. On Friday, the Huskies scored 11 runs in the 9th inning alone. Senior pitcher Ryan Olson and sophomore pitcher Donovan Sims dominated the Falcons, shutting them out on Saturday and Sunday. The Huskies are now tied with Ball State for first place in the MAC West and are trying to make some noise as the season comes to a close.
Now let's move over to softball. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games, and they're looking to finish the season strong on their way to the MAC tournament. Let's see how they ended the past couple games. NIU hosted Western Michigan in a doubleheader a few weeks ago. Caitlin Warren scored 2 runs in the first game, but the Huskies will lose the game 7-4. But in game 2, the Huskies got their revenge. They scored 3 runs in the 2nd inning and won the game 6-4. Becca Harnish scored 2 runs in that victory, and Tara Thacker won her 7th game of the season.
Well, the Lady Huskies are close to the end of their season, and the team has done better than last year. We're joined here by softball head coach Christina Sutliff. Christina, thank you very much for joining us.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
So what has clicked with the team to improve from 28-25 last year to this year's 32-16 season?
I just think last year's team helped us move our culture forward and get us moving in the right direction. Every year for the last several years, this program's definitely been moving in this direction to have this type of season, and they were just able to put it all together.
Okay, that's a pretty impressive record as of now, but you all actually were swept by Toledo and all the games were close. How do you make sure everyone bounced back from that?
We know we have the capability of winning every game that we're out there on that field. So we did have a couple heartbreakers this weekend, but there's no point in dwelling on it. We just have to move forward and clean up a couple things defensively, and we'll get back in our groove.
That's probably the best attitude to have, right?
Absolutely.
So the team this year has more underclassmen than upperclassmen. What is that like for you this season?
It's been it was more frustrating, I guess, a little bit in the fall, just getting them acclimated to our different systems and what we do here. Having 18 freshmen and sophomores sometimes create some youth on the field in some different situations, but that's really what preseason is all about. And now I can't even say that we really look at it that way. We went into the year saying that this will not be an excuse for us for not winning and not competing, and they've bought into it. And we've got several freshmen really competing on the field and making an impact for us.
Oh, so important.
Now, the impact is obviously seen by your record, but you all are actually 14-9 away and 4-4 at home. How do you all make sure that you actually keep that home field advantage when you do play at home?
I think it's just controlling the routine. When we're on the road, we have a consistent routine of what we're doing. There's a curfew. We're taking them to the restaurants. They know when they're eating. They know when everything is. When we get home, there's a lot of distractions with family, friends, school, classwork, making up tests, doing all that. So I think it's just figuring that out. Hopefully they put it all together this weekend. We're taking some finals this week, so that kind of plays a role in it as well because we're gone next week. So it's a tough challenge for them when we're here at home, no doubt about it.
Life of a college student, right?
It is,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So you got some big games coming up. What expectations do you have coming up for the MAC tournament?
We expect to win every single game. So if I'm going to sit here and say we don't expect to go 3-0, I'm going to be lying to you. We got to grab the momentum back going into MAC and just kind of position ourselves within a seeding to have a better matchup that first round as best we can.
Now, with all the success and hopefully the success in the tournament, how do you think that will affect your recruiting?
Recruiting's always better when you're coming off of a winning season. Our recruiting is so early in softball that we're already 2-3 years out with our recruiting. So I don't know how much it 100% plays a role in it, but it's definitely easier to say we've had the best winning season in 16 years when you're going on those recruiting trails. And we're getting a little more publicity now in the papers and in local sports writing and all that. So I think in the Chicagoland area we're creating a name for ourselves, and we're just becoming a school that definitely the student athletes are starting to look at.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Coach Sutcliffe, for joining us, and we honestly wish you the best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks for having me.
Now let's send it over to our sports hub. Alex Rodriguez is there with a look at the MAC tournament for both the baseball and softball teams. Welcome to Top Shelf Sports, where we check in with Husky sports teams across NIU. I'm Ryan Mack.
And I'm Mike Poyer. The NIU basketball season just ended, and that means that baseball and softball are in full swing.
And who could forget about the madness that is March? My bracket's useless now, so I don't forget, Mike. But we'll get back to that in just a little bit. The Huskies had a strong basketball season, ending with 21-13 record.
That's right, Ryan. It's the best record that they've had in 20 years, and point guard Trayvon Baker had an especially good season. The senior finished his career with 164 steals. That's a new NIU record.
He also scored 996 points in his 4 years as a Husky, just 4 points short of the 1,000-point mark, an accomplishment not seen since 2002. Let's take a look at the last few games of the season. Coming off a tough road trip with losses to both Ball State and Central Michigan, the NIU men's basketball team was looking to bounce back here at the Convo Center. Let's take a look. The Huskies got off to a cold start before Trayvon Baker found Marshawn Wilson for the Huskies' first three of the game. Here's Marin Maric with the staggering block on an unsuspecting Bronco. Maric was all over the place in this game. Here he is showing off his post moves before finishing with the hook shot over the defender. Maric is battling it out here in the post before ending up on the floor, but that wouldn't be enough to slow the big man down. Maric would finish with 16, and the Huskies would get their 19th win of the season.
As the Huskies took the court for the last time in the regular season, the crowd came out to say goodbye to seniors like Trayvon Baker and Chuksi Rugbu. While Baker may have finished the NIU season as the new NIU all-time career steals leader with 164, it was Marshawn Wilson picking pockets here and taking it coast to coast before missing the easy dunk that would have brought NIU to within one. However, the Huskies wouldn't stay down for long. The threes rained down on Ball State in the second half, with Baker and Eric Armstead helping the Huskies to put down the Cardinals for a final score of 80-69.
So, Mike, you had a chance to experience the MAC tournament game earlier this month.
I did. It was fantastic. You know, the team was really fired up, and so were the fans that came out to support them. It was a Monday night, and it was quite the experience. The men's basketball team is hosting a MAC tournament game for the first time since 2014, but this game had a much different feeling. In a season where everyone pitched in, from seniors like Trayvon Baker to freshmen like Levi Bradley, the Huskies charged to a 21-13 record. The end of the game.
Clutch, definitely clutch. He came through. Him being a freshman, that doesn't even matter. He came through with big time shots when we needed him to, man, and we applaud him. Appreciate it.
With the crowd behind them and each other to lean on, the Huskies head to Cleveland for the first time under coach Mark Montgomery.
You can bend, but don't break. Keep playing with energy. Keep getting the stop. Just find a way to wheel the ball in the basket.
Players like Eric Armstead are ecstatic about going to Cleveland for the very first time.
How's it feel? It feels amazing. We made history, and I guess we made a little more history, but the job's not finished, and we're going all the way to Cleveland to finish it up.
It's been a great season for the Huskies. For Top Shelf Sports at the NAU Convocation Center, I'm Mike Poyer.
One of the key players this season has been junior guard Eric Armstead. Eric's here with us now. Welcome, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So, Eric, how's life after this season treating you?
Well, it's really different right now. I'm just trying to get used to not having practice, not having workouts on a consistent basis, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a week since the end of the season, and you've had some time to reflect. What are your thoughts on this past season and how you guys are looking heading into next year?
Well, looking back on the season, I just feel like we did what we were supposed to do this year. We took care of business on the court, no problems off the court. We were cohesive as a team, and I feel like that'll carry over into next season, and hopefully we can have a good start to the season next year.
So why do you think this season specifically was a success, and what's changed now since previous seasons?
The cohesion of the group. We're just a team. We're very active in each other's lives off the court, which affects us very well on the court. So you can see that by when we play.
And what are some of the changes that have been made to bring this to fruition?
A lot of bonding amongst the players, non-coach involved bonding, just the players getting together, going to hang out, just trying to get to know each other on a different level.
And pasta dinners and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
So tell me about your role in the team. How has that changed since you were a freshman?
Well, now I'm a junior. I have a lot more responsibilities than I had then. And next year I'll have even more responsibilities, being the only senior on the team, kind of having that responsibility of being the leader, the glue of the team, that force that keeps us pushing.
So what do you think the team will need to do to build off of this season?
I would say what we need to do to build off the season is keep our cohesion going. Keep the team bonding. The player motivation going. Just trying to better each other.
Mm-hmm.
And you're certainly a strong player for the team, and next year as the only senior on that team, going into that again, how do you plan on keeping kind of the younger guys in check?
Well, I think our young guys are, they're pretty good. They're not the average freshman. I don't want to say they're the average freshman. They're very mature for their age. Even the youngest ones, they're really responsible. Like I said, we haven't had any problems, off the court. And normally in past years, those things just come from freshmen, being immature, and not knowing how things go. But our freshmen they were very well this year.
Well, that's very significant. What will you do to prepare for this upcoming season, and how are you personally going to be keeping your team morale up?
I personally will be working on a lot of skill things, basketball-wise. Just trying to make sure that I'm healthy, make sure I maintain my health at a certain level to be able to perform well all throughout next season.
And what about the team as a whole, just kind of keeping up with each other?
Well, the team as a whole, we just feel like we want to be closer. That's helped us in this past year. So we try to make that a goal for us to keep that going for next year. Like I said earlier, once we have a good basis as a unit, we can have a good basis as a unit on the court.
Sorry.
So can you give us like 3 things that you think the team needs to work on coming up this season?
3 things that we have to work on. I'll probably have to say passing, our aggression on defense, and ending the games, closing out games.
Has there been a problem with like finishing on this?
Well, a lot of the games this year, and I think it's a tribute to us being a very young team. We just have to work on, closing out games as far as not letting teams come back. When we're up by 10, not letting teams cut it to 2, not letting teams cut it to 5, things like that.
All right. Well, looks like you guys have a very positive outlook heading into future years and obviously your senior year.
Yep.
Thanks again for coming by, Eric.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. We kind of can't believe the season is over after covering it, but we're really looking forward to next year.
I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me.
The Lady Huskies also called the Convocation Center home. Top Shelf Sports will recap their season as soon as we return. Well, the men's basketball team wasn't the only one making 3-pointers this season.
That's right. The Lady Huskies had a good season as well. Let's take a look. Kelly Smith makes the driving layup. Here's another look at the impressive drive.
On the breakaway, Michaela Voigt goes around the world and finishes with the layup. Let's take a second look now. The Lady Huskies played the Central Michigan Chippewas in February. Let's take a look. We go to the first half. Huskies are down by 1. Allie Lehman inbounds it to Cassidy Glenn. Glenn takes a 3-pointer and drains the bucket to put the Huskies up by 2. Now in the second quarter, Huskies up by 7. Central Michigan has it, but Courtney Woods makes a great block. Strong defense by Woods on that play. Now in the second half, Laisha Gordon has the ball. Gordon dribbles up the right side of the arc, puts up a shot and hits the 2. But it was free throws that brought the Huskies down. The Chips scored 17 points from free throws alone, compared that to only 6 by the Huskies. The Huskies lose this game, 73-67.
The women ended their season with a senior night matchup against the Western Michigan Broncos, and the Huskies were on fire. The game started with the Huskies shooting 47% from the field. They also shot very well from 3 and had a 35-29 point lead in the half. However, NIU went cold in the second half, and they could not hold on to a lead in the second half. Western Michigan pulled away with a 64-60 win at the Convocation Center. The Lady Huskies and the Broncos would meet again in the first round of the MAC tournament, but the result did not change as the Broncos trampled the Huskies 94-52, bringing an end to the Lady Huskies season.
Well, the Lady Huskies ended their basketball season with an 11-19 record.
A record not as quite as good as the men's, but there were definitely some special moments here. Like that phenomenal buzzer beater by Cassidy Glenn against the Buffalo Bulls, and what junior guard Allie Lehman did could be fantastic for the Huskies next year.
Now we're going to take a look at the top play from either team this season. The Lady Huskies took on the Buffalo Bills in January, and in the end, one Huskies shot proved to be the difference between a win and a loss. But down 74-73 and needing a miracle to snap their losing streak, the Huskies inbound the ball. It finds Cassidy Glenn, who drains a 3-pointer for her second buzzer beater of the game. And the Lady Huskies end up winning 76-74. Giving it a second look, you can see their hearts breaking, and Cassidy Glenn takes home the top play of this basketball season for the Huskies.
From the benches to the bullpen, it might not feel like it, but spring is here, and that means it's time to head out to the Diamond. It was opening home weekend for the Husky baseball and softball teams. The baseball team played Saturday, but the weather was a huge factor. The game started on Friday, but was postponed until Saturday afternoon. The team took on Miami, Ohio, but the game did not end well. The conditions outside were less than ideal, as was the Huskies' play. The Huskies were only able to put up 1 hit against the Redhawks, and they fall 7-0.
Moving over to Sunday now, NIU wrapped up their series against Miami with a doubleheader. Like the weather, the Huskies hope to bounce back after a cold start to the series. The weather played its part, climbing to over 70 degrees, but in the first game, the Huskies were unable to get anything going against the Redhawks, losing 2-0. The Bats came alive in the second game of the doubleheader, though, as the Huskies were able to put up 5 runs in the 6th. That proved to be more than enough as starting pitcher Donovan Sims pitched his best game of the year. Sims hurled a complete game and the Huskies won 6-1. Their record is now 7-20.
Moving over to the softball diamond now, the Huskies split a doubleheader with Kent State on Friday. We move now to the Sunday's rubber match. Perfect softball weather out there as Kent State jumped out to an early 3-1 lead heading into the 5th inning. Bottom of the 5th inning, though, the Huskies put on their rally caps. Jenny Van Gentry smashes this 2-run home run to tie the game at 3. And look at the rally caps there to celebrate the home run. Unfortunately, in the top of the 7th, Kent State's Michelle Duffy smashes the home run to take the lead. The Huskies would attempt to rally with the bases packed, but with 2 outs, Kaylee Kosikowski hits a short fly ball to shallow right field, and it doesn't drop, and this game is over. Kent State takes the game and the series. NIU's record falls to 23-10.
Out at our Sports Hub, Walter Douglas has the baseball and softball schedules.
He's going to tell us the next chance that we have to see the baseball and softball teams.
So who would you say are the winners of the draft so far?
Want to start with me?
Go ahead.
Well, my biggest winner, obviously, is the San Francisco 49ers. Them
which
getting,
I think is unanimous.
yeah, which is
Unanimous
unanimous.
49ers
The
won the
49ers
draft,
won the draft.
we're gonna pick our second.
They got three picks, three virtual two second. They got a third and a fourth this year, and then a third next year from the Bears. For the Bears just to move up a spot, and we'll get to that later. And then they got Solomon Thomas, who they all wanted all along, and at the end of the first round, they got Reuben Foster. And then I have another biggest winner in New Orleans, which they got Marcus Lattimore. They got Ryan Ramczyk at the end of the first round. And then they got, in the second round, they got Marcus Williams from Utah, a safety that they could add because they could use the DBs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they add another running back to, they already got Adrian Peterson. They got Mark Ingram now. They got Mark Ingram, and then they add Alvin Kamara. So
Who's solid?
they had, he was solid running back. So if Adrian Peterson doesn't pan out, he's up there, just come off surgery. So Alvin Kamara could probably step in there and do some things. Yeah. This year.
My second winner would probably have to be Carolina. I mean, you get Christian McCaffrey, who is one of the best weapons in the draft. Like, you can line him up in the backfield, you can line him up in the slot. He can also return punts and kicks. And can you imagine that offense, the zone read offense with him and Cam in the back? Because defense really have to stay on their toes now. Because it's like, if he has McCaffrey back there, it's like I can give it to him, or I can still keep it. That is a steal and a half for them. And I forgot who they got in the second round.
They got Curtis Samuel from Ohio State.
A receiver who
guy.
Just like McCaffrey, he can line up in the backfield and he can line up in the slot. Like, he played running back. He played some running back at Ohio State. Yeah. I want to say he was the dude that scored the game with the touchdown against Michigan.
He was the main running back, I think, at Ohio State. But I think, adding McCaffrey, adding to your point with Cam Newton, that's big because you need playmakers back there.
Especially
with Cam Newton. So you got who's the wide receiver from that they have from Florida State?
Kelvin Benjamin.
Kelvin Benjamin.
All he has to do is
You got Greg Olsen.
Yeah.
And who else? They
got
one
Jonathan
kid Funches.
Stewart.
They got Funches, the wide
Devin
receiver.
Funches.
And so I mean he's still out there.
Definitely need more playmakers.
Yeah, definitely need more playmakers. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So now you add McCaffrey, who, man, McCaffrey can easily be a slot wide receiver in the NFL. Yeah. I mean, the way he's built and how fast he is.
Not to mention they also
route running.
In the third round they got Myles Garrett's partner from A&M, the DN on the other side, and his name's escaping me right now. But that's a big pickup for them.
Yeah.
Because when you consider what they lost on defense, they lost Coney Ely to New England.
Yeah.
And Thomas Davis, I know Thomas Davis is a linebacker, but he's getting up there.
Yeah.
Not to mention the secondary is depleted since Norman went to Washington.
It's understatement.
Yeah. So I mean, and also you got San Diego. You mentioned before, in the meeting that Mike Williams, Forrest Lamp. They added Dan Feeney, so 2 offensive guards. Big time offensive guards.
Tampa Bay getting O.J. Howard.
Yeah,
Tampa Bay. That's
my second biggest winner again. O.J. Howard, who's a huge weapon. I know they had Cameron Brate, but he was more like just that end zone guy. O.J. Howard's gonna
But they two tight end sets gonna be
Well, yeah.
disgusting.
It is.
Real nice,
Like Cameron Braid ain't no scrub.
No, he's not. Yeah, absolutely.
Like Cameron Braid ain't no scrub. Like
No,
like,
Cameron
got
Braid's really good player.
Then they helped out the secondary with Justin Evans. Then they also had another playmaker receiver, Chris Goodman. And so they really stocking up on their weapons. Definitely helping Jameis Winston try to take over that South. But
yeah, I mean it's gonna be tough. I mean Atlanta's really good.
then plus with Carolina adding
Carolina's
even more
gonna be
playmakers.
good. That's a really tough division.
Yeah.
And New Orleans, they're gonna bring it on offense hopefully this year.
I
Hopefully
mean,
they're better on
that's
defense.
why you sign a guy like AP when in games like where New Orleans has the lead, you can hand that ball to AP
And he gets you first down.
and get you first down. He can eat that clock up.
Yep.
That's what
Exactly.
it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
They gonna be like the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC South.
See, is Sean Payton going to know to run the clock
Yes.
instead of just throw
Yes.
with
Yes.
breeze
Yes.
all the time?
Like, don't get me wrong. Like I understand Drew Brees has led the league in like he's had more 5,000-yard pass seasons than anybody. But at the same time, he's also had to do that a lot because there are times where they score and then their defense give it right back.
Right.
They score again, defense gives it right back. So he wants to be in a position where he scores, and if the defense don't score,
He don't get back.
they don't like if they defense don't give it back. Pray
they
to God
score.
they don't give it back.
Right. Or they score. So.
or they score again. They can just give the ball to AP, Mark Ingram, and Alvin Kamara, and just run it out.
Yep. Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
So to go back over, the anonymous winner was 49ers, but our other ones, Tampa Bay,
New Orleans.
Carolina.
Yep.
All right. Those are our winners. And now, who are our losers of the draft?
I have.
You go first.
Oh, okay. Because we're pretty unanimous. On this.
Yeah, we are. Okay.
Pretty unanimous on
Obviously,
this.
I think
I don't have any other loser either.
I think we can call what the Bears did a loss. However, after hearing other different opinions, while they say it don't make sense, it low key made sense.
You want me to go first?
It made like. Is it a gamble getting a guy like Trubisky? Yes, big gamble. Ryan Pace is pretty much putting his career as a GM on the line with this pick.
Yeah.
The goal was to get a franchise QB. Glennon was not that guy.
No, it definitely wasn't.
Glennon was not that guy. If it was me, would I have picked Trubisky? No. I probably would have went after Watson. More starts.
I agree.
National championship on his belt. A Heisman contender his last 2 years. His last 2 seasons.
The last 2 seasons, yeah. He was a Heisman, top 5 Heisman.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah. Yeah, so, but the one thing about Watson is that he threw some really bad interceptions.
he
And that's the
turned over the
problem.
ball a lot.
That's the problem that they a lot of teams have with Watson is that it's not college. You don't have like that dominant team around you.
Yeah, I get you.
Around to always pick up that slack. So
and what people said about Trubisky, because like when they compared the two, like it was literally Watson, Trubisky, and name Mahomes, like whatever other quarterback you want to name, but the top two, Watson, Trubisky. They said if you to flip the script, if you to put Trubisky on Clemson and with them weapons that he had, that Watson had, Trubisky's the #1 overall pick. No questions about it. The reason the Bears are a loser, people are not mad at the pick. They're mad at what we gave up to get that pick when we didn't have to give up all that we gave up.
Yeah.
Trubisky, if Trubisky was the guy the whole time. Trubisky, from what I'm hearing, Trubisky was the dude the whole time. They didn't make a sound about who they wanted up until the draft. So what they did was they just sat back, because Cleveland's plan was to get Garrett and get Trubisky at 12 or move up to 6 and trade back with the Jets to get Trubisky at 6. That was their plan. So what the Bears actually did was threw a wrench in Cleveland's plan, which is why Cleveland is my loser. Cleveland had 3 first-round picks, essentially. You need a quarterback. You have Osweiler, you got Cody Kessler, and Kevin Hogan as your quarterback in Cleveland. You need the franchise dude, and you had 3 first-round picks, 3 opportunities to get a QB, and you didn't get one.
Well, to my
Cleveland's
vote,
my
can I
loser.
say something now, TJ? Because Cleveland has a lot of holes. They're probably going to be in the same position next season.
What's a bigger hole than QB? I understand they have more holes.
TJ, they're a franchise that can wait. They went, 10 years before?
What?
They're a franchise that can wait.
What, bro? Hugh Jackson might be fired.
Check it.
Fired with a
Check this
Y.
out.
F-Y-E-D,
Next year's
fired.
quarterback class, Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen. You got Allen from Wyoming, J.T. Barrett, Ohio State, I believe. Jared Stidman, who transferred from Baylor to Auburn, can very well be vaulted into that first-round pick depending on how he plays for Auburn. You got a class that is far superior to this class that just, especially in the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in that class. Darnold and Rosen are for sure franchise QBs and more surefire franchise QBs than a Trubisky or a Patrick Mahomes, who went 1 and 2 in terms of, he went 10. And then Watson went 12.
But the thing is,
let me get to what I'm saying. They know they have a lot of holes. They went and filled Myles Garrett. You can't pass up on the best football player, defensive player. Period.
Number 1.
Right. So you can't pass up on Myles Garrett. And then you went and got Jabril Peppers, who is arguably probably the best open field tackler as a defensive back in this draft, next to Jamal Adams.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, it's him and Jamal Adams, because Marcus Lattimore is not even that great of an open field tackler. He's just a great cover corner. Okay, and then you add a athlete. Well, I'm not really big on tight ends. Never have been, and picking them in the first round. So I could say Cleveland messed up on getting a tight end when they could have got Reuben Foster, and he was still available. Because he was who I think is, next to Myles Garrett, is the best defensive player in this draft as well. So they're going to be in this position next year. The Bears were going to be in that same position next year as well, barring any setbacks, barring if they have a couple victories this year than last year. The Bears were going to be picking probably in the top 10 next year as well. So they had a chance to do this type of move next season to get a franchise quarterback next season, because Trubisky, you're going to basically look at his resume. It's 13 games. Before that, 3 seasons before that, he was a backup to a guy that was 2 seasons before that, he was a backup to a guy that's a practice squad player in the NFL right now. So what really shows me about Trubisky, I heard his coach, I forget the coach's name, the head ball coach of North Carolina. He said that Trubisky wasn't even ready. He came in at a $184. He had to fill in with his body, but he's a hard worker. So what I look what the Bears do with Trubisky, you gave up too much for him.
That's why I'm
gave
up
too much for him.
I don't think people are as analysts included. I don't think they are as upset at the pick as people think. They're more so upset at what we gave up.
Yeah, but he can very well pan out.
That's what I'm saying. He can pan out. Don't get me wrong. Dude could he could be the next whatever. He could be the next big thing. But the thing is, you don't give up 2 sets. What was it? 2/3.
Well, the third and the fourth
A third and
this
the
year,
fourth
and then
this
third
year,
next year.
and a third next year. You don't give all that up to get a guy you could have got at 3. Because San Fran was never going to take him. No.
Very well.
Because they're going after Kirk Cousins.
When you look at the players in this league, in the NFL, a lot of the players on rosters are late-round picks. A lot of really good players are late-round picks. So you can find a gem in the 3rd and 4th round. They gave up. I could understand a 5th, 6th, 7th, where the talent has kind of dwindled. But in those rounds, you still have talent that you can pick from, that you can add to your team. And so for you to give up a lot, and then wasn't happy with the fact that 2nd round pick, they go get another unknown tight end. I'm not big on tight ends. You get tight ends 4th, 5th, 6th round. You don't get tight ends first 2 rounds unless they're a surefire tight end.
It's safe to say NIU basketball is back. Good evening, I'm Ryan Mack.
And I'm Mike Poyer. It certainly looks that way, as the Huskies won 20 games this year for the first time in 20 years. Let's take a look at win number 19 for the men's team from a couple weeks ago against Western Michigan. Minutes into the game, NIU struggling to find their shot as Trayvon Baker finds Marshawn Wilson, who drains the first 3-pointer of the game. Then it became the Marin Maric show as he makes the huge block on a shot by a Bronco. Maric later gets the pass from Wilson, banging inside, and he makes the nice baby hook here with great finesse going over the Bronco defender. But later in the first half, Marich was getting banged down low here as he tries to get the charge call, but he flops and does not get the call from the refs. The Huskies then found their three-point game as Eric Armstead finds Levi Bradley for the open three, and then later Armstead would follow suit with a three of his own. Great shot there by Bradley over the defender. Here you see Armstead taking the pass, and he makes no mistake, he drains it. The Huskies didn't hold anything back offensively as Baker makes the nice pass inside to Marshawn Wilson, and then he goes into Martin Marich, who then goes inside with another baby hook over the defender. Later, Baker would find Marshawn Wilson, who dumped the pass off to Jalen Key, who finishes strong at the rim. A couple of plays later, the Western Michigan guard Tucker Heyman grabs the rebound and makes a slick no-look pass to Drake Lamont for the slam. Nice passing rubbed off on the Huskies as Leighton Porter creates the nice space for the bounce pass to Armstead, who drains another corner three. Then with minutes left in the game, Trayvon Baker hits clutch free throws to keep the score out of reach, and as time expired, Western Michigan tries to make a desperation three, but it does not go as the Huskies beat the Broncos for their 19th win of the season.
And over the weekend, the team marked its 20th win for the season, which came on a special night. Friday was senior night for guard Trayvon Baker and forward Chuks Irugbu as they were honored with a last walk onto the court with their families. A couple minutes gone in the game, Trayvon Baker misses a layup, but his Ball State tries to bring it up court when Marshawn Wilson steals the ball and goes for the emphatic dunk, but misses it as the Huskies are down by 3. Later, Baker finds an open Wilson who drains a three-pointer to tie the game up at 7 apiece. And the threes kept on raining for the Huskies as Eric Armstead hits one from the outside, followed by Baker to give NIU the lead. Later, Baker gets the steal and speeds through the defense to make the wild layup to put NIU up by 10. And shortly after this, Leighton Porter dishes the nice pass to Chuks for a nice layup inside. In the second half, Levi Bradley took the game over with an 8-0 run, hitting a nice hook shot to get things going. But then Bradley, with a nice find from Michael Orris, hits a monster three-pointer to give NIU a 51-38 lead. Later, Orris finds Bradley once again, who makes another three. And Baker, at the end of the second half, shakes and bakes his defender as he hits a three of his own. But the play of the night wasn't until the very end when Chuks was all alone and rattles the crowd with the ferocious dunk as NIU gets their 20th win with a score of 80-69. Eric Armstead is here with us. Thanks for coming out, Eric. Now, you guys, the team, started out really strong but cooled off a little bit more towards the end. You guys were still able to win 20 games in the season, in the first time in 20 years. What has this season meant to you guys as a team?
Well, as a team, we just tried to come out and focus on, camaraderie, stand together as a team, trying to be a cohesive group. We didn't necessarily have too many high goals set for ourselves, early on, because we wanted to see what our team was going to be like with all the freshmen coming in. So we kind of just focused on the small things and trying to be a cohesive group starting out.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. And how about you individually? What have you done this season by yourself to stay focused?
Well, I tried to focus on basketball, laser focus on basketball, getting better, individual skills, dribbling, ball handling, passing the ball, shooting, things like that, just to, kind of, make my focus, more so towards just trying to, better my skills, before the season started. So that's pretty much what I focused on.
Well, it looks like it's working out. 20 wins is a pretty big deal. Have you guys noticed more buzz around the team this season?
Well, a lot of people are talking about us. We've gotten the Convo's fan count up, so that's a big improvement from freshman year to sophomore year. We averaged about 1,000 fans. Maybe a little less than that. So coming out and having the upper deck and the lower deck filled up, that was really encouraging.
So this season has obviously been a lot different. What would you say has changed from last season to this season?
Well, our camaraderie, on and off the court, just being more, friends off the court and friends on the court as opposed to just being teammates. I think that's really brought us together, a lot of team bonding and things like that.
Well, hopefully that works out for you guys. We know it's early, but how do you see this season ending, and what do you think is going to happen in this game today?
Well,
Our game tonight, we're just focused, we're not too much focused on the end. We're focused on the game at hand like we've done all season. And once we get this win, then we'll be on to bigger things like the NCAA tournament, first the MAC tournament, and hopefully we hope to advance from there. So.
Well, good luck tonight, Eric. Thank you so much for joining us, and we really hope it all works out.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Men's basketball isn't the only team on campus creating a stir. The Lady Huskies look to finish the season strong. You are watching Top Shelf Sports.
Two weeks ago, we talked about Chooks Irugbu being involved in the Dark Horse Dunk Contest. He was unfortunately unable to move on to the next round, but Mike, you had a chance to catch up with him and find out that there's more to this guy than just dunking.
I did, and he's not only a talented basketball player, but he wasn't always a basketball player. And I had a chance to talk to Chooks and find that out firsthand. Let's check it out.
A 6'4" senior wing from Sacramento,
My name is Chooks Irugbu from Sacramento, California. I'm a senior. Before this, I was at City College of San Francisco. I'm majoring in economics. I'll have my degree this spring.
Senior wing, Chooks Irugbu, has been a high-flying dunker for NIU basketball, but basketball wasn't always his passion.
I was mostly playing soccer, and around the 3rd grade, one of my best friends, he told me to come out and start playing for the Salvation Army League. So I came out, tried out, made a team, and I just started playing and loved it ever since.
But Chooks eventually had to make a decision about his future, soccer or basketball.
I had to make a decision where it's going to be soccer or basketball, and I seen that my talent was more towards basketball. So after probably the 5th grade, I stopped playing soccer and then started playing basketball full time.
But Chooks isn't the only basketball player in the family either. For Chooks and his brothers, basketball has become a family affair.
Both my parents are from Nigeria. My dad's a lawyer, my mom's a nurse. I have 2 brothers. One is a junior at Washington State. The other is a sophomore at the College of Southern Idaho.
A laid-back player off the court, Chooks enjoys playing video games.
What I like to do in my spare time, I like to just hang out, play 2K and Call of Duty.
Chooks was recently eliminated from the State Farm Dark Horse Dunker Contest, but dunking is still his favorite thing.
It gets my blood rushing. My blood because I can feel the dunk coming. I start getting excited, and then my legs start feeling good, and I just go and throw one down, hearing the crowd screaming and chanting my name. It's a really good feeling.
On and off the court, Chooks Irugbu is a one-of-a-kind talent. For NTC Sports at the NIU Convocation Center, I'm Mike Poyer.